The United States political landscape is greatly influenced by two major political parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, also called the Grand Old Party. These parties differ fundamentally in their approach towards governance, economic policies, social issues, healthcare, and the role of government itself, but ultimately aims to guide the nation towards prosperity by compromising and working together in Congress to pass laws that help to protect and serve the American people. In order to understand how these parties shapes the American society, economy, and politics at large, we need to understand their unique ideologies and values that influence their policy positions, legislative priorities, and the categories of voters they attract. But first, a brief history of the two parties which are intrinsically connected. Founded in 1828, the Democratic Party is the oldest of the two parties. It was initially established by supporters of Andrew Jackson and evolved from the Democratic-Republican Party, which itself was founded by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison in the late 18th century. Originally, the Democratic Party supported a limited federal government, states' rights, and agrarian interests, but it transformed over time, particularly in the 20th century. During the New Deal era in the 1930s under President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the Democratic Party embraced progressive economic reforms and social welfare programs. The civil rights movement further reshaped the party in the 1960s as it shifted to advocate for civil rights, social justice, and expanded federal government intervention in economic and social policies. Supporters of the Democratic Party are known as Democrats. On the other hand, the Republican Party was founded on March 20, 1854 in response to the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which allowed for the expansion of slavery into Western territories. Abolitionists, former Whigs, and anti-slavery Democrats joined forces to form the party, committed to opposing the spread of slavery. Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president, led the country through the Civil War and ultimately ended slavery. The Republican Party historically supported business interests, economic growth, and a strong federal government to protect individual freedoms. However, in the 20th century, it gradually embraced conservatism, emphasizing limited government, free market capitalism, and traditional values. By the 1980s, under the leadership of Ronald Reagan, the Republican Party solidified its identity as the party of limited government, lower taxes, and deregulation. The supporters of the Republican Party are referred to as Republicans. Their first key difference is in the symbols and colors that help visually represent their identities and values. The Democratic Party's color is blue, and it is associated with the donkey, which originated during Andrew Jackson's 1828 presidential campaign when opponents labeled him a jackass for his populist views. Jackson embraced the symbol, seeing the donkey as a symbol of stubbornness and strength, particularly for the common man. Over time, the donkey came to embody the Democratic Party's dedication to standing up for everyday Americans, with qualities like humility, empathy, and determination in the face of challenges. Today, the party's modern logo often features a stylized blue donkey. On the other hand, the Republican Party's color is red, and it is symbolized by the elephant, which gained popularity after a cartoon by political illustrator Thomas Nast in 1874 depicted the Republican Party as an elephant. The elephant symbolizes strength, dignity, and intelligence. Elephants are also known for their long memory and loyalty, characteristics that resonate with the Republican values of tradition, stability, and perseverance. This image stuck and became a lasting symbol of the party's strength and resilience. The official logo often features a red elephant with 3 white stars on its back. Candidates that represent these parties often wear these colors on important days, such as Election Day. The Democratic Party believes in a strong government in which the government has a more progressive approach to helping citizens of the United States. They support social programs, healthcare reform, and federal regulations to ensure equal opportunity and protect the environment. Democrats believe that government intervention can help correct social inequities and provide a safety net for vulnerable populations. They are typically more liberal in their views on the rights of citizens. On the flip side, the Republican Party pushes for a more limited and less controlling government. They argue that reducing government size, lowering taxes, and limiting regulation leads to economic growth and personal freedom. They take a more conservative approach to most rights of citizens. They promote citizens' individual rights to choose. Democrats push for a progressive taxation on citizens. This means that the higher a person's income, the higher their taxes should be, and the person that receives a lower income should be taxed less. They believe that everyone should have a job that pays enough to raise family. Republicans support cutting taxes whenever possible without hurting the overall budget and the nation's debt. Republicans also support free market competition, entrepreneurship, such as starting your own business, and capitalism. They believe that every American deserves a right to own, invest, build, and prosper. Democrats support a more significant government role in healthcare, with many advocating for universal healthcare or expansions of public healthcare options like Medicare and Obamacare, which is a federally funded healthcare program initiated by the Barack Obama administration. They also prioritize public education funding, student debt relief, and support for affordable higher education. Republicans, on the other hand, promote free market solutions for healthcare, favoring private insurance and reduced government involvement. They emphasize school choice and support for charter schools, arguing that competition can improve education quality and efficiency. Democrats generally support a balanced approach to military spending, emphasizing diplomacy and alliances as key tools in promoting global stability and national security. They often advocate for redirecting some military funds toward domestic programs, such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure, believing these also contribute to a secure and stable society. They tend to prioritize multilateral action and international partnerships through organizations like NATO and the United Nations, as well as a cautious approach to military interventions. Republicans advocate for strong military investment, viewing a powerful defense as essential to national security and global influence. They often emphasize the need for advanced military capabilities and a readiness to project strength abroad, arguing that a robust military deters potential threats. Republicans also tend to support a more assertive foreign policy and may be more willing to engage in unilateral military actions to protect U.S. interests. For them, a strong military presence is critical to maintaining peace and securing American values globally. Democrats support policies that restrict and monitor gun control. Generally, Democrats oppose the right to carry concealed weapons in public places. Republicans want to limit the amount of gun control restrictions. They strongly support the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, as well as the right to carry concealed weapons in public places. In terms of marriage, Democrats generally support same-sex marriage, gender equality, and reproductive rights. Although Democrats remain largely divided on the issue, as some only support civil unions between a man and a woman. Republicans support the constitutional amendment to ban same-sex marriage. They strongly support civil unions between a man and a woman. Democrats advocate for policies to combat climate change, including investments in renewable energy, carbon emissions regulations, and international environmental agreements. The Green New Deal, a proposal embraced by many Democrats, is an example of the party's commitment to addressing climate issues. Republicans tend to prioritize economic growth over environmental regulation, arguing that excessive regulations hurt businesses and job creation. While some Republicans acknowledge climate change, the party generally supports a more measured approach to environmental policies, focusing on energy independence and economic sustainability. Democrats generally support a pro-choice policy which allows women to make their own choice when it comes to abortion. Republicans generally support a pro-life policy with an emphasis on promoting alternatives to abortion, such as adoption. Democrats do not promote strict immigration restrictions. This means that there are less restrictions allowing it for immigrants from other countries to move to the United States. Republicans promote strict immigration restrictions. This means that they support closed or tight borders and a thorough tracking system for foreign travelers. They support monitoring and regulating the amount of immigrants moving to the United States. Some Democratic Party presidents include John F. Kennedy, Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden. The Republican Party produced presidents like Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, Ronald Reagan, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump, who, at the time of making this video, has been re-elected as the 47th President of the United States of America.